Yep.
So yeah, stop it and then
Okay.
restart.
Now,
Sorry.
now we're good. So, hi, my name is Trisha DeWolf, and I work in the Office of the Dean of Students. I do alcohol and other drug program coordination, and one of the things that I've been doing for the last couple of years for campus is using or I've been through a train the trainer program to deploy naloxone. So that's why you're here. Some of the training objectives are what are the signs, how to use the naloxone or Narcan. You can use either term. Narcan is just the brand name, naloxone is the generic name. And we'll talk a little bit about the New York State Good Samaritan law, which protects you, the person using the naloxone, and it also protects the user of the opioid as well. So we'll go over that quick. This is meant to be super quick. We're not medical professionals. This is just if you come upon a situation where you can be a good bystander, you are attempting to save someone's life. It does not have to be perfect. I want you to think of it as if you were in a restaurant and you saw someone choking, would you try to do the Heimlich maneuver? Or if you were trained in CPR, would you step forward and do rescue breathing or perform CPR? Same type of idea. So I could spend a lot of time on how the opioid epidemic kind of began, but I wanted to just give you where we're kind of at currently. So New York State, due to a lot of factors, naloxone training being one of them, our overdoses have decreased from 2023 to 2024. The new numbers are not yet out, but they should be also decreased. So that's great. That means trainings like this are working. We're working together with law enforcement and getting people the help that they need. So all good movement in the right direction. So over the years, the opioid crisis has looked a little bit different, but right now, the majority of our overdoses in our area, in New York State, in the country, are due to synthetic fentanyl, which is super, super powerful. People don't know that it's in the drugs, or they do know and they use too much of it, and it's causing the overdoses. You may have heard of carfentanil, that's another derivative. So some powerful, powerful narcotics, and it's much different either rather than heroin back 10, 15 years ago. So that's what we're trying to combat. If you take anything from this training is that an overdose can happen to anyone at any time. Police dogs have overdosed. Young children have gotten into a drug supply and overdosed. So it's not just your typical person who is battling addiction. First responders have overdosed. Or we see our students experimenting for the first time as they embark on their college journey and they don't realize what's in the drugs they're using. And it's happened here. Some of you may have been here in 2014 when we had the unfortunate overdoses and deaths of a couple of our students, and it was absolutely heartbreaking. And we don't want to be in that position again, which is why I think the more knowledge you can have on this, the better. And joining today means you're an empowered bystander and you're just looking to have a safer community for all. Okay, so what is naloxone? So naloxone is a drug that if given in time to an overdose victim, it can reverse the effects. It does so really quickly. But the scary thing that is if someone's an active user who's been habitually using, it puts them into instant withdrawal, which can be very uncomfortable. So I always tell people if you are coming upon a stranger or a situation that you're not familiar with, make sure that you're keeping yourself safe as well. So if the person comes to and they want to run off, you don't, lay on top of them and try to get them to stay. You let them go and you just tell EMS or law enforcement what way they ran because you don't want to put yourself in a dangerous situation. So the good thing is naloxone works quickly in a few minutes. It's the longest few minutes of your life as you're waiting for someone to take a breath, but it is very quick. And this is kind of the communication with naloxone. If it's not an opioid overdose, naloxone will not work. So if it's an alcohol overdose, it will not work. If it's benzodiazepines, if it's a stimulant, if it's cocaine, the naloxone will not work on any of those drugs. But you're going to gather as much information that you have in an emergency situation, and you're going to make your best guess. And if someone says they took a random pill, I would, whoops, when in doubt, deploy the naloxone. So, because it will not hurt the person if opioids are not in their system. So. This is kind of a picture of how naloxone works. I say it's kind of like people that like soccer. You're going to kick the opioid, which could be heroin, which could be fentanyl, which could be a prescription pain medication like oxycodone, hydrocodone, morphine. The naloxone comes in and basically soccer kicks that opioid off of the receptor in the brain, and it sits there perfectly like a lock and key. Now, the scary thing is sometimes the opioid lasts longer than the naloxone. So that's why we always tell people, even though you came to and you want to just leave, you really need to go and get checked out at the hospital, because people have gone back into an overdose when the naloxone has worn off. So we can only recommend that they do that. They can most certainly make their own decision, but we always try to tell people just sit and relax, let EMS check you out, let them take you to the hospital, because we don't want you going back into an overdose. Okay, so the meat of this is, what are some of the signs? And I'm going to put all of them up here. You're going to have to make a really quick, educated decision. You may have no one else around to tell you what the person took. You may be just going on, okay, they're not responsive. So you come upon a scene and you say, sir, ma'am, are you okay? Are you okay? And if they're just making noises and they don't know who they are or where they are, that is unresponsive. You can do what's called a sternal rub. So locate your sternum on your chest. There's not a lot of meat there. What we tell people is take your fist and your knuckles and you're going to grind really hard. I'm doing it, if you can kind of see on the camera. Grind down really hard. And if someone is non-responsive, they're just going to lay there. You're going to want to push really, really hard. If they pop up and they say, "Ow, that hurts," well, then they might be responsive, and if they're able to talk to you. Any changes in breathing, I don't care if it's fast, slow, gurgly, sounds weird. They sound like they're gasping for breath, they're vomiting. That's all an indication that they're not responsive. So you can check a few other things like their pupils. If their lips are turning blue, that's indicative of not getting enough oxygen. But you're going to have to really make a quick decision here. And you're covered by the Good Samaritan law to make that decision quick and say, I'm going to give them the naloxone, even though I'm not 100% sure. So that's why I always tell people, if some of the signs are there and your gut is telling you something's off, definitely use the naloxone because it will not hurt them. Okay. So I always tell people, when you come upon a situation, everybody usually has a phone at this point. You can delegate someone to call 911, or you can call 911 and put your phone on speaker, because that 911 operator isn't only going to dispatch a first responder, they're also going to talk you through how to do this. If you're like, I was trained, but it was a long time ago. So I always say call 911 first. Some trainings will tell you to deploy the naloxone first. Whatever you decide to do is okay. So let's say you did do the sternal rub and the person is not responsive. So you're going to want to lay them as flat as you can. on their back because you're going to put the naloxone up their nose. So this is probably hard to see, but it's a nasal. If you've ever used like Afrin or a nasal spray, it's just like that. And you want the medication to go far up into their nasal passages and into the brain. So you want to tilt their head back and have them lie flat best you can. What I want you to remember is this doesn't have to be perfect. You're attempting to save someone's life. So they're flat. You've put this in either the right or left nostril. It does not matter. And you push the little lever on the naloxone, and you'll see it when you get it in person, and you're going to hear it go poof. And then you're going to wait the dreaded 2 to 3 minutes. Okay. Give the person some space because if they come to, they could be really, really confused, really disoriented. If you wait 3 to 4 minutes or even 2 to 3 minutes and they're still not coming to, your kit has 2 doses in it. So you can use the second dose and you use it the same way. It can go in the same nostril, can go in a different nostril. It does not matter. Let's say a little dribbles out of their nose. That is okay. You are attempting to save a life. In a perfect scenario, you'd have the 911 dispatcher to help you through, and you know that EMS or law enforcement is on the way just in case they need more doses, because your kit comes with 2. So if the person has vomited, just like with alcohol, we don't want anyone to have anything in their airway. You can put them on their side in the recovery position. Now, your kit will also come with gloves because vomit is gross and you want to protect yourself from communicable diseases. So give yourself 5 seconds to say, or, to keep yourself safe. Your kit also comes with some alcohol swabs so that you can clean the airway, and it comes with a face mask to do rescue breathing if you want to. You do not have to. Okay. Um, Rescue breathing is for if the person has a pulse but is not breathing very well. And the goal is obviously to get their brain oxygen. But by law, just because you're trained doesn't mean you have to do this. Also, if the person has no pulse, you can, and if you're trained, you can do CPR. But again, you do not have to. That's why I always say call 911 first, because then you know EMS is on their way to take over. So really quickly, I just want to talk about the New York State Good Samaritan law. This protects you. You cannot be sued because you gave someone naloxone and maybe it wasn't an opioid overdose. If you don't do rescue breaths correctly or CPR correctly, just like if you break someone's rib when you're doing CPR, they can't sue you. They can't sue you if they're dead. So you're just attempting, that's the bottom line. You're attempting to save their life. You will not be in trouble for using it, for carrying it. You're covered under this public health law, but also it protects the user so that they want to get help. Too many people have died because people have ran off because they're afraid that they have drugs on them and law enforcement's going to come and arrest them. This law protects them as well. So it's a win-win on both sides. So in a perfect scenario, you would deploy the naloxone, EMS would get there, the police would get there, they would ask you a few questions, and you would leave the scene feeling like I saved someone's life today. So that's really what we want you to take away from that. Just some general housekeeping for the naloxone. I try to take mine in and out of my vehicle because it shouldn't be, just like any medication, you shouldn't have it exposed to extreme temperatures. Because it is a safe medication, it's not going to hurt somebody if they accidentally ingest it, but just like any medication, Tylenol, Advil, you wouldn't want to just leave it out in areas where kids can get it or pets might get into it. But so it's up to you where you want to keep it. You will never get in trouble being pulled over for a different reason and having naloxone in your car. It's more commonplace now, so which I think is great. And generally it expires every 2 years. But my rule of thumb is I tell people, even if your naloxone is expired, still use it. It's better than nothing. So you can just throw it away. Let's say it gets damaged or it's really, really expired. You can return it on campus to me and I'll take care of it. You can return it to any pharmacy or medication disposal box. The closest one to campus is at the Oswego City Police Department. And sometimes agencies will take it back, like Farnham Family Services, or Catholic Charities, that type of thing, or recovery centers. So, but you can throw it away if you just, don't want it anymore. And just my kind of little plug here, if you come across a student group, other staff or faculty that also have interest in being trained, I love to do these trainings in person, or I can do them one-on-one in the office of the Dean of Students. So the more people trained, the better. Here's my contact information. And I know that was really quick. So I do want to see if you have any specific questions. Thank you, Becky, for putting the picture in the chat. The kits are really nice. They have a nice carabiner on them and they're nice and sturdy. So definitely a good, because I have these cheap like plastic ones, but these are much better. So. And your kit does also have a fentanyl testing strip in it. It will not do anything in an overdose situation, but if you're ever talking with somebody and they tell you that they're using drugs and you want to give them a testing strip, you can certainly do that. I have lots more in the office. There's some around campus, here in the library, in the 24-hour room, in the vending machine. So lots of places where students and anybody who wants them can get them. Any other last questions?
Will the
So
kits
what
be mailed to us or should we request them and pick them up?
are you coming to campus at all?
When the semester begins, yes.
Okay, we can either meet somewhere and I can give it to you, or if a better alternative, we can also send it out if you would like that. Good question. So I will probably email you individually and set up a time where, or I can, get your address and send it. Okay. All right, we just hit 10:20. Did that quick.
Perfect.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Yep. See ya.
Just hit stop record. Yes. And I'll get you your USB back. Oh,
Actually, get a cat. Yay.